USL Championship takes us to Oklahoma City at Taft Stadium, where OKC Energy FC meets New Mexico United. Alongside Wolde Harris, I'm Spencer Siegel. Happy to have you along tonight for a matchup between two teams that are in two different groups. 8 groups in the USL this year. The top 2 teams from each group advancing to the playoffs. As you see, San Antonio 2 points ahead of OKC, who also have a game in hand. But both groups with these two teams appearing to be very competitive. New Mexico has played El Paso twice. They got a win against Locomotive last time out to put them at the top of Group C. And as we look forward to this one, our SSM Health St. Anthony's players to watch: Jaime Chavez and Rafa Garcia Wolde, 2 players looking to get involved in the midfield.
Yes, OKC will be dependent on Chavez to score the goals today. He's scored 13 goals last year. Coming off that, he's rolled down to 2 goals this year. Garcia is a big-time leader with MLS experience in the middle of the park, and they'll be dependent on him to organize things.
Yeah, no Omar Gordon, no Gordell Cato. Gordon is on the bench today. Oklahoma City hasn't lost since the restart, and that also happens to be the case for New Mexico as well. And Chris Wehan is the catalyst for New Mexico. He scored a big goal against OKC last year. He's scoring more goals this year, and with no Devin Sandoval tonight, it's all on Wehan.
Oh, they'll be dependent on Wehan heavily. He's a man that's been really consistent for them, and he's really creative and score goals to boot. So they'll be dependent on him to lead from the front today. 3 goals in the last 3 games, and he's big time for them. So they'll be leaning on him heavily.
New Mexico playing a lot of games on the road. Oklahoma City, a lot of games at home, and that's just the nature of the beast in what is a strange USL season. But we're happy to bring it to you, and we've got it coming up next. Kickoff between OKC and New Mexico on the other side of this break right here on ESPN+.
Goals are something we outline for ourselves, and oftentimes they can be pretty lofty. When things begin to line up the way we think they should, we appreciate those who helped us along the way, like the help you get with commercial banking from FFB. Our experts are ready to partner with you to help you manage cash flow, oversee accounts through online banking, and help you secure a business line of credit. Because we know you've got better things to do, like grow your business. FFB. We go where you go.
You're about to witness a momentous occasion. Introducing the power of a better cloud, brought to you by Cox Business Cloud Solutions with rapid scale technology. And the migration is complete. IT professionals are thrilled, because when seemingly nothing is happening, everything is happening. Introducing Cox Business Cloud Solutions with rapid scale technology, the power of a better cloud.
As a private contractor, I didn't realize contacting OKC 811 before digging was my responsibility. I know there are utility lines buried everywhere, and I understand that damaging these lines could be costly or have potentially devastating consequences. From small digging, even with a shovel, to bigger jobs, the contractor must contact OKC 811 and wait the required time for those lines to be marked before starting the work. For every job, big or small, start your project with one call and simply dial 811.
I'd always wanted to get braces, always considered it, thought about it. You know, how long is this gonna take? Am I too old to do this? What am I gonna look like with braces on? With payment options and everything else, nothing's hindering me now, I just need to go ahead and do it. The staff, for one, is awesome. The doctor's great. I know I had friends growing up saying, oh, it hurts. I didn't have that experience. I can't wait to see my teeth without being masked by wires, right? Hindsight, I would have done it again 100 times over.
We're back at Taft Stadium as we get ready for kickoff, and as you see, the United Soccer League, all 47 of its clubs and its players stand together in support of diversity, inclusivity, equality, and compassion in the fight against racism. We are all united against racism, and as the two sides take a knee, As the anthem comes to an end, we'll take a look at our first Fidelity Bank lineups. First for Oklahoma City, 4 changes, Wolde, from last time out on the 23rd against RGV. Hernandez and Ward come in to play up top. You see, we're not quite sure exactly the formation that's going to play out, but so far, John Pascarella's side has it as a 3-4-3.
Yes, talking to Coach Pascarella this week, he alluded to the fact that he might change things up a bit. Being home at Taft Field, he wants to keep the middle of the park tight and not allow players like Guzman and Weehan to take advantage of the midfield.
For New Mexico, just one change, and it's a pretty big one. With Devin Sandoval out, Romeo Parks moves up to the top. Chris Weehan slots down into his normal spot. You see Daniel Bruce on the left, but for the most part, status quo.
Yes, I mean, it's hard to replace a guy like Sandoval up top with the amount of goals that he scored for New Mexico United. But, you know, Parks is a big-time player as well. Can get on the ball, hold it up, and also can get in behind. To boot, he's 6'4", so he's a big guy to deal with, you know, a big presence. And Bruce, we all know what Bruce can do. He's a guy that buzzes around the field, gets on the end of things, and pops up in the most unassuming spots. Our
Khalidi Kia keys to the game tonight. It's all about finishing for OKC, especially at home. In the midfield, New Mexico, they've got to be able to make that transition without a guy like Sandoval up top. And for our SSM Health St. Anthony injury report, we know Sandoval out. We are underway at Taft Stadium in a matchup between Group D and Group C sides. Mexico in the yellow, OKC sporting those white and green energy jerseys today with the black numbers on the back. Always fun to try and identify a player by its number when it's difficult to see them. As New Mexico works their way through the early portion of this season, Wolde, on the road, as I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, for them it's 9 of their first 10 games away from home at the very least, and that's not really knowing exactly how the rest is going to play out in terms of their government status and what the state of New Mexico decides to do. How do they approach that?
Well, this is definitely a challenge for a coach, saying, but that's part of the manager's job, is to find solutions for the team, and I think their record has proven for itself, undefeated so far since the restart. And, they're looking to get on the ball again on the road. So they've proven that with their win against the Locomotive, and they're looking to do it again here and impose their will on the game at Taft Field in OKC.
Well, they imposed their will their last time out. A win for New Mexico. Goals from Weehan and Sandoval. And they conceded a penalty against El Paso in the 76th minute, or I beg your pardon, they conceded that penalty in the 86th, but they did hold on for the win. A season where points mean a whole lot to try and finish in the top 2 in their group. OKC resetting from the back. You see along the back side, it's Atiba Harris, Nicholas Taravel manning the middle, Christian Ibiaga, Zachary Ellis Hayden on the wings. Brought back in, this is Amando Moreno. Finds the feet of Chris Weehan. Bruce recycles it back for Salih Muhammad. Is he onside? Romeo Parks is in. Parks! And it's deflected, ultimately saved by CJ Cochran. Energy FC would like to thank SSM Health St. Anthony's for being the official healthcare partner, and Team Docs for Energy FC. SSM Health St. Anthony's support on the sidelines and in the community is unmatched for 121 years. SSM Health St. Anthony's has been ready to help and heal patience across OKC.
Face it, don't let him play. Good spot. Drop in, Brucey. Easy, Suggs.
Get a chance to take a look at our SSM Health St. Anthony's injury report as well, and we've talked about it. This is Oklahoma City. They look fairly healthy, but on New Mexico's side, they've got to work around a couple of problems.
Yes, Hamilton, Najem, Sandoval, and Schmidt, all key players and all key role players in this team out for this game. So New Mexico will have to do a little bit of shifting and making sure that they keep things tight, especially in the back and in the middle of the park. But they're definitely playing with a limited roster. But the players that are out there are definitely capable of executing and coming out with the points here. It's just a matter of everybody being on the same page.
Turned over, but Muhammad there to snuff out any problems. Yeah, Devin Sandoval had the goal of the week in week 5 against El Paso. He was the first player to sign with New Mexico, and everybody who follows this New Mexico United team knows how important he is to their lineup. Without him, they're looking for Romeo Parks at the top to try and wreak havoc on this OKC defense that has been stingy so far this season, but have yet to master the clean sheet. Bruce chases it down, but won't get to it.
Just seeing the speed of the turf there come into play as the ball, just a slight touch from Parks sends that ball careening out over the touchline, although Bruce is going at top speed.
First 5 minutes, Wolde, what do you see?
Well, both teams, feeling each other out. Not a lot of space to play in the midfield, so we've seen a couple of balls over the top from both sides, both from Ibiaga and out of the back from New Mexico. So both teams are just feeling each other out here. New Mexico's pushing high, looking to press and force turnovers high up the pitch, see if they could get any chances from that. And OKC is just looking to get on the ball, looking for those spaces in the midfield to play through. Rafa Garcia getting on the ball and trying to look forward, but right now they're just feeling each other out.
That's Garcia for Harris, and that's a 1-2 punch that knows at the very least how to stay calm under pressure. There's a turnover though. It's picked up by Parks. There's space for Andrew Tenari. Tenari with room, knocks it back. Weehan got a toe to it, and it's scooped up by CJ Cochran.
Yeah, that's good action through the midfield there. Moreno playing that ball forward, and unfortunately they couldn't get through the back line of the OKC defense. The stinginess coming into play. Referee right on the spot there as the player went down in the box. OKC will have to be careful in the back, not to give any silly fouls away.
Chavez couldn't keep it under his spell. Tenari finds Moreno. Pablo Guzman pushes it back through Guzman. Thanks to First Fidelity Bank for being a founding partner and continued sponsor of Energy FC. First Fidelity Bank, we go where you go. Confidently headed to his keeper. OKC still trying to establish possession in New Mexico's half. Have yet to do that. Poked free, and Kalen Ryden sends it back to Cody Mizell.
What's interesting is that we're seeing Weehan play more on the left-hand side of the pitch, and usually you see him more in the central parts of the pitch, but he's on the left-hand side, and I'm not sure if they're trying to take advantage of Atiba Hash's speed or anything on the left-hand side, but that's a key matchup to watch.
Garcia has been forced backwards quite a bit. That's Ibiaga out of trouble. OKC led this year by John Pascarella, his first year as head coach of the Energy after Steve Cook's contract ran out and was not renewed. Brown Room to run. Armando Moreno tried to slip it through for Parks. Got it back momentarily. Garcia wants to go forward, and he's tripped up.
Yeah, OKC. New Mexico doing a pretty good job of keeping things compact and turning the ball over in midfield, and they're getting opportunities down the right-hand side, but here comes OKC.
Brown inside, off ahead. It caught Chavez and glanced toward the far post. Not enough mustard on it, though. Mizell with an easy save.
Yeah, this is what OKC will be looking to do in the entire game. Get the balls wide into those channels, get 1v1s, and look to get Chavez on the ball. Get Chavez on the ball in the box. That's where he makes his money.
Replay brought to you by Dental Depot. Kalen Ryden, who came over from the USL Championship winning Real Monarchs last year. Flung forward, good ball. It finds the feet of Bruce, who tries to get his cross in. I beg your pardon, that's Suggs all the way up the left wing.
Can definitely get used to seeing that, as Suggs definitely an adventurous left back. He's more of an attacking left back than more than anything. He was not afraid to get above and beyond whoever's playing on the left outside there and get deep into the opponent's half and swing in those crosses. So
Get on it, let's play.
OKC will have to pay attention to that as the game progresses.
Get it again, Tinny, get it again, Tinny, come here.
We've seen Oklahoma City struggle so far to get out of their own third. The high press from New Mexico proven to give them difficulty. Here's a long ball across for Bruce.
That's something Coach Lassane alluded to in our call this week, is that they like to press high. They like to turn the ball over in the high up the pitch in the opponent's half and look to get chances off that. So it's working well so far. We'll see if OKC adjusts in a little while here, or if they'll continue to absorb this pressure that New Mexico's putting on them right now.
Come out of it, come out of it, come out of it. Time. Next side, Salim, good man.
That's the voice of Troy Lassane in his second season, in New Mexico's second season as the head man.
Play one, get on it now, huh? Turn.
36 years old, and took the team in their inaugural season to the playoffs last year, 10th seed in the West. We talked to Coach Lassane just off the feet of Bruce. An appeal. There's Lassane, mask on and all. He talked about establishing an identity last year. He said, we had our foundational pieces. We got those established. We've put together a base culture. We have pride in our club, not just for the players and the staff, but within the community. Everyone's included. And they feel like they've established an identity in New Mexico. And that's so important in the first season for a club.
Yeah, very important. What's even harder to implement is the culture, and you alluded to that as well. Hard work, humility, and diligence, attention to detail. And, you know, that hard work, you could see it on the field right now. Everybody seems to be buzzing around. They're putting OKC on the back foot. And as we said before, looking to impose their style of play and their will on the game. They've done a very good job so far. Not getting the chance on the end of the chances, but at least they're coming to that final ball. And their buildup is pretty good as well. They're keeping possession through the lines, and it's just that final ball we've yet to see.
Chavez couldn't keep it in the final third. Ball got to his feet. And again, New Mexico will play out from the back. But we've talked about this pitch, and if you've seen Oklahoma City's pitch and you've seen them play, we know how narrow it is. This is not a wide field, so the play in the middle, that transition game that we talked about, is such a big determining factor in terms of who's got the success.
Yeah, neither team has gotten the opportunity to really make use of that transition as the game's just started. Both teams are compact, and they're just trying to feel their way through the midfield, sometimes bypassing the midfield. So this will give us an early indication right now as to you know, where these teams can go in the final thirds of both halves. As Rafa looks to get on this free kick and send it into the box, this is something that OKC, I'm pretty sure, has a few tricks up their sleeve, and they usually do from set pieces.
Garcia's got a lot of green and white jerseys to aim for at the far post. Served up by Garcia and headed clear rather easily. Brought right back to him, and a second chance. Lost by Basulovic. Bruce just dribbled into Garcia, no foul. Won back smartly though by Moreno. Parks holds it up.
Yeah, Parks, as I said before, a really strong guy, big, and that's what he brings to the game. He has the ability to hold the ball up, connect with people, connect with the midfield, bring people into play, and that's what Coach Hossein will be looking for him to do more and more as the game progresses.
John Pascarella, appointed on November 22nd. Mentioned that Steve Cook's contract wasn't renewed. He's now the director of soccer development for Phoenix. Pascarella, though, previously the goalkeeper coach at Minnesota United for the past 2 years and won an MLS Cup with SKC. First half corner kick brought to you by First Fidelity Bank, headed clear. Tenari, another excellent job winning the ball back and creating a second chance. Parks from the top of the box. Nobody on the other end of that diagonal ball.
Yeah, OKC doing a really good job of staying compact, not open up any easy passing lanes and forcing New Mexico to try to play the ball over the top or swing in wayward crosses from awkward angles. So good job by OKC there, and they got away with the, you know, fending off the pressure, and now they're applying a little bit more pressure high up the field.
Nearly won back. Basulovic did a great job just to chase the ball, and then Charlie Ward got to it, but it looks like he also clipped a body part on the way. Take another look.
Yeah, Ward just coming in, catches him on the heels. Nothing malicious about the tackle.
On Pablo Guzman. Wehan.
Go ahead, Slee, go ahead. They got no one there. Go, go.
Basulovic boots it forward. Chavez finally keeps a hold of it, and OKC wins another free kick.
Great job by Chavez to hold the ball up there, especially under pressure from 3 New Mexico defenders. Help was just a little bit too slow in coming there, but he did a good job of putting his body in place and grabbing the foul.
Organize the distance between the midfield and the back.
17 minutes in, and about what you'd expect with a 0-0 game that has been even. 50% possession for both sides. Just trying to unlock the opposition's defense.
You know, OKC is doing a good job of keeping compact, especially in the middle of the park. New Mexico is finding it hard to play out, just having to move the ball around to move their opposition to get those passing lanes. But OKC has been pretty compact so far and not giving them anything through the middle. Everything's been going through the wide channels, and that's where Coach Pascarella wants them to go.
Parks tries to flick it forward. It does fall.
Pass again, pass again, pass again.
Moreno
Come here. Turn one,
looking
turn,
for help.
Turn. Succeed.
Tenari.
Sucks.
And again cleared away. Both of these teams lost a huge piece at the top of their offense from the 2019 season. Oklahoma City lost Deshaun Brown who was their leading goal scorer, had 15 goals last year. Nobody else on Oklahoma City had more than 6. And for New Mexico, Kevon Frater scored 14 goals, which also led his New Mexico side. We'll get back to that in a moment. Here comes Basulovic with menace, and it's picked up by Mizell. Ironically, Wolde, both of those players left to go play for the same team in the Indian Super League.
Well, something must be going on in India that we don't know about. But I know the Super League is an up-and-coming league, and you know, both players looking to grow and see what their talents, where their talents can take them. And obviously, Coach Asena has done something really, really well with the team, because they've picked up right where they left off last year. And even though we have some players that have departed, the team is still very, very dangerous going forward. Obviously, we've talked about Sandoval and him not being in the team today, but you add a Romeo Parks, and it's, you know, you're looking at goals in him going forward as well.
What can you tell me about Bengaluru FC with all of your soccer knowledge? Might have to wait. Here's Bruce.
To be honest, I haven't seen a game from Bengaluru FC, to be honest. Not much from the Indian League, to be honest. But you know, for those players to go over.
I would expect you to be honest with me. I don't think you're not the type of person that would lie.
But for both players to go over there, the level of competition must be high, and you know, they want a different experience. Both players have been playing in the U.S. for a couple of years now, so to go international and play somewhere else is definitely a highlight of one's career as a professional soccer player.
Well, I can tell you that Bengaluru finished 3rd in the Indian Super League last year. However, Kevon Frater no longer with the side. He signed with Maccabi Netanya in Israel earlier this month. But once again, the USL proving to be a league that can push talent forward in whatever direction they choose. And if that means going to India, then so be it. Had a player signed earlier this week from Orange County. Signed with Wolfsburg, the first USL player to sign in the Bundesliga. Just gives you an idea of the upward mobility that this league is starting to create.
USL is growing more and more every year, and the players and the standard of play is getting higher and higher every year. It's getting faster and faster, and it's just a testament to the work that the coaches and the players are doing behind the scene to keep the level of play going upwards.
Access to technology should be attainable regardless of income level. Get back to that in just a moment. Play on, so will we. Through Connect to Compete, Cox opens a world of opportunity for families by providing low-cost home internet. Learn more about Connect to Compete at cox.com/connect2compete.
Now it's just you three. And B options for us to play.
First time that we've seen
Go higher again, Jose.
New Mexico sit back a little bit in their formation. Oklahoma City now tasked to break them down.
Yeah, well, they kind of got caught in transition. It sucks high up the field, losing possession, and then, you know, looking to counter really quickly. They had to get players back to the middle of the park to stop the counterattack, and once there, they just decided to get behind the ball, keep things in front of them so everybody can retreat and consolidate play.
Parks holds it up well against Ibiaga. Pushed forward, Daniel Bruce looking to get his cross in. It's a low ball, flicked on, and shepherded out of play for a goal kick.
I'm sure Coach Lassane is not too happy with that cross from Bruce. With that much time and space, you'd expect a little bit better cross into a more dangerous area, but you know, mistakes happen. But the good thing about that is that they would want to get Bruce more and more of the ball. As he's been on the ball a couple of times and wide open, so they're working that ball from left to right seems to be working well for New Mexico. Hopefully they could do that more often and get more chances.
Well, we're halfway through the first half, which means we're fairly close to the hydration break. But the way you look at both teams trying to break the other side down, what's the key to unlocking the opposition's defense, especially on such a narrow field?
Well, for me, you got to suck the other team in and look to play in behind a little bit more. As you can see, both teams are holding a high line, especially when one team is building out of the back. So you need runs from the wingers from the outside in or from the inside out to look to get in behind, bypass the midfield, especially in the early goings. And then once the game settles down and open up, then use those half spaces underneath to unlock and create those 2v1s and 3v2s in the middle of the park. And see if we can get penetration through there. Spring the forwards park into those gaps in behind the outside back and the center backs.
These two teams did play in the preseason. It was a 2-1 New Mexico win. John Pascarella said you can take the information from those games and emphasize what they like to do. And he said New Mexico, similar to Energy FC, that they both like to play. And he meant in a competitive spirit, that they're very similar to us in the sense that they stress their width in the attack, which might not be so beneficial on a night like tonight.
Yeah, very difficult to find a lot of width on Taft Field, but you know that's a part of the game. You're going to have to move the opposition around, and he also stressed positive possession, which means looking to go forward, looking to play forward through the lines, and also being patient. You know, if you can't find the gaps in the beginning of the game, just to be patient and make sure that you're taking care of the ball, and then once they open up, look to play those through balls quickly and create 2v1 situations and numbers advantage situations, and see if we could create chances off those.
Can Brown get to it? No. Flags up. Well, this is definitely a task for John Pascarella to redefine the culture of Oklahoma City. End of last year, they won back-to-back games in mid-August. Both 4-2 victories over Timbers 2 and Austin. And then after that, they took 2 points out of a possible 24 over their final 8 games, plummeted out of the playoff picture. They lost their last 4 games in league play. And this might be the most jarring stat of them all. In those 8 games, they played with the lead for a total of 16 minutes.
Yes, he's definitely worked on a culture, and he alluded to the fact that he needed stronger competition in every spot in training and also competition in games. So he's really implemented his style, and the way he sees this team improving is to improve the culture, and competition is a big part of that. And also being positive, but not only being positive, but enjoying the game. And he said that's a big part of, since he's came into this job, that he's tried to instill that culture.
Nicely won back by OKC. Here's Garcia. Now Brown. Pushed down the side. Arun Basulovic taking on 2 defenders to the byline. Gets in his cross. And it's somewhat unconvincingly swept out by New Mexico, but nonetheless, job done.
Yeah, this is better from OKC, looking to create those two, as I said, those 2v1 situations wide, and then get the service into Chavez.
Won well by Guzman. Parks, he put his hand to it. Play on.
Fourth official and the referee in good position to make the call there. Good no call. There was a bump from Ibiaga that led to the inadvertent handball by Romeo Parks.
Matthew Corrigan, our referee today. What I believe they were saying was that he was pushed into this handball. Although, on further look, I guess not. But you know what? We're in the same spot on the pitch that we were 30 seconds ago. So, no harm, no foul. Here's Atiba Harris on the ball. First player ever from St. Kitts and Nevis to appear in an MLS game.
MLS veteran, playing his trade in the USL. Adding experience to the back line of OKC and leadership.
Garcia high up the pitch. Bruce can't get to it, then does. He's held up. And we're supposed to have one hydration break per half, and that's supposed to come halfway through the half. And so far, almost 2/3 of the way through this one. Which means we shouldn't be too far from it. Neither side has been able to break through in the first 30 minutes, even really with a good chance on goal.
Yeah, space has been of a premium for both sides. Hard to come by.
Yeah,
Very
space
tight
or lack
midfield.
thereof.
Yeah, this is true.
Yes, we're doing it at 30, yes.
Yeah, there will be a hydration break. Next chance at 30.
Here's Muhammad. Flung forward by Ryden to the feet of Bruce. Got caught underneath him.
Come out!
Weehan getting involved. Bruce, Weehan, Chris Weehan, deflected in. 1-0 New Mexico.
There's that man Weehan showing up again. Great diagonal run, great run behind the defense, and just crossed it right in front of the goal, and it was put in. Not sure if this is an own goal or not, but we'll see on the replay. But all be the same. Again, that ball came from the back, as we were alluding to earlier, about the ball over the top from Ryden.
It looked like Armando Moreno may have gotten to it, but the replay will be able to tell us, Wolde, whether or not it was an own goal, but it's Weehan's cross that gets it done. And at the hydration break, New Mexico United take a lead in a game that really didn't have one leader one way or another.
Yeah, we talked about the space and the lack of space in midfield. And that initial ball to Bruce came from Ryden, all the way in the back, over the top in that half space. Nice first touch, gets it into Parks. Parks around the corner with Weehan, making that diagonal run. He crosses it, and Moreno finishes it off. Great mobility and movement by New Mexico, and catching OKC on their heels right at the hydration break.
Well, if Moreno is awarded the goal, it'll be his first of the season. And Chris Weehan, who's been the goal scorer for New Mexico so far this year, that would be his first assist of the season.
Well, he's coming all the way from the left-hand side, which is a testament to his work ethic and mobility, and wants to get, and he has the willingness to do the dirty work, to run in behind and make those long diagonal runs to get on the end of things. And you know, now he becomes a provider. Last couple games he's been the goal scorer, but today, right now, he's the provider.
Take a look at some of the chances in this game as we are about halfway through this hydration break, and the main chance coming with the goal here half an hour in to the contest. But for New Mexico United, they've been trying to build from the back. They've been trying to break through. This was a good opportunity for Parks, who just really couldn't get it under control to get a good shot on target.
Yeah, getting closed down by two defenders really quickly there, and Ibiaga recovering, and also Atiba Harris coming to just put pressure on him. In good position by Cochran just to stay big and hold his ground, and came up with a save.
This was the best chance for OKC. It was Brown for Chavez, whose flicked header didn't have enough on it.
Yeah, Chavez hasn't gotten as much service as he would like so far, but credit to Brown to get down the line and get that cross in.
And then the goal, Bruce Wehan, and all indications are, it looks like it was the chest of Moreno that actually put it home in the end. Moreno is credited with the goal. And New Mexico have a 1-0 lead, which will play heavily into the script moving forward, especially considering their history with leads in their first season and a half, more or less, as a franchise.
Yeah, great blue-collar goal there from Moreno. Just willingness to put his body on the line to get the ball in the back of the net. Coach can ask for nothing more than that.
Troy Lesane said that if you looked at the amount of matches we drew last season where we had the lead, if we convert even half of those, we're in the top 5. And so, you know, because I like statistics, I looked up all of the games in which they had a lead. Sure enough, they held a lead in 9 of their 23 games. Hold on one moment. This is cleared not well. Parks gets on top of it. Romeo Parks gets inside and couldn't make the final touch to get around Cochran.
Great skill from Romario Parks. Romario Parks at the top of the box there, beating two defenders, and looking to slip by the goalkeeper here, but just the ball runs away from him right at the end.
One too many touches.
Yeah, well, in the box you're trying to be creative and get by those defenders just to get a shot off, and he did well just to get through, but obviously that last touch just moved away from him, just a little bit too strong on that last touch.
Romeo!
So New Mexico won 11 games last year. Don't take that away from them. They had a really good first season in the USL, but it could have been a great season. They held a lead in 9 of the 23 games last year that they didn't win. And in those 9 games that they held a lead and didn't win, 7 of them ended as draws, 2 of them ended as losses. That's 20 dropped points. And indeed, if they had held on to, say, half of them, they would have gotten at the very least a first-round bye, as opposed to having to be the 10 seed and play in the play-in round in the playoffs. They finished just 4 points from a potential bye. First Fidelity Bank is proud to be an OKC Energy FC founding sponsor. Our 20 OKC Metro locations make banking convenient for you, especially when combined with our free worldwide ATMs, mobile banking, and mobile deposit. First Fidelity Bank, we go where you go. Visit www.ffb.com today.
I have to apologize to Romeo Parks for mixing him up with his fellow Jamaican, Romario Williams down in Miami. But Romeo Parks definitely looking to get on the ball and get into the box, being very dangerous so far up top in New Mexico.
Romario Williams, who scored in a Miami 4-3 loss at Atlanta on Wednesday. Stick around for some highlights of that when we get to our Khalidi Kia halftime report. Also, how about Louisville City losing to Sporting Kansas City 2? We'll show you how that one played out as well. They are starting to be the outsiders looking up. And that's not normally their MO. They're usually the ones looking down on everybody else in the league.
2020, totally different season.
Blame it on 2020, right? That seems to be the go-to when things aren't going your way.
Well, Louisville's been at the upper echelons of the league for the past couple of years, you know, and other teams are looking to knock them off that pedestal. So they're coming with their A game, you know, the last couple games. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult for Louisville this year than years past, as teams come in knowing what they present and that they're quality side, and that, you know, you have to be on top of your game when you're going into Louisville.
Garcia just trying to be the link between the midfield and the players up top.
Mondo, come on, keep working, bud.
OKC has definitely picked up their speed of play since conceding that goal.
Brown again tries to get around Muhammad, who plays solid defense. And once again, it's an empty possession for OKC.
Good lead by Muhammad and textbook 1v1 defending there, just to usher the ball out for a goal kick. As we look at Mizell looking to take this goal kick in the 40th minute.
Cody Mizell. See the sun starting to set with the pockets of sun that are left at Taft Stadium on what is a beautiful Saturday night. Albeit a tad toasty. Here's Hernandez. Now Garcia with his head up. Basulovic. There's not a lot of options for OKC. They're patient in this attack.
New Mexico doing a good job of getting everybody behind the ball, staying compact, not giving up any easy passing lanes in the middle of the park, forcing OKC to look wide.
Brown can't keep it.
Jose, well done, keep looking for it.
Since 1947, Select has been the leader in soccer ball quality and innovation. Select is the official ball supplier of the USL Championship and many of the elite leagues throughout Europe. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit selectsportamerica.com.
See New Mexico dropping back a little bit here. Maybe just looking to keep things compact going into the last 4 to 5 minutes of the half.
Caramel recycles it to the back.
Making life difficult for OKC to play out of the back, that's for sure.
Loose touch that time from Harris. And again, it's a turnover in the New Mexico third. Moreno, the goal scorer. Tenari lost it. Room to run for OKC. Chavez working his way back. Here comes Basulovic. Good challenge that time. Josh Suggs appeared to get a clip in with the challenge as well, but it was a legal play.
It was a good tackle by Josh Suggs. It's great tracking as Ellis Hayden looking to get into the attack as he normally does. And that's something that we have to look out for, you know. Ellis Hayden is definitely attacking right back, and, you know, we haven't seen him or called his name that much in the first half. But I'm pretty sure Coach Pascarella is going to look into seeing if he can incorporate him more into the attack, get him on the ball, get him wide in 1v1 situation, especially when Josh Suggs is in transition, when Josh Suggs is higher up the pitch.
50 appearances for Fresno over the last 2 seasons. Did score 2 goals in 2018. But it's that speed and pace that he can provide up the right wing. Here is Ellis Hayden on the ball. Wins the throw.
Yes.
Popped up. Basulovic. New Mexico clears their lines.
Yeah, just very difficult for OKC to find any space to make any penetrating passes in the final third. All the space seems to collapse as soon as they go into the final third of the pitch.
New Mexico will be pleased if this is the scoreline at halftime.
OKC is not the easiest space to play, so having a 1-0 lead going into the half is definitely speaking volumes for not only their style of play, but they're following the orders and the game plan.
Well, 1 would be great. 2 would be fantastic, and they'll have an opportunity to serve 1 into the box from this set piece.
Seems like it'll be a left-footed in-swinging ball from Josh Suggs as he trots over to stand over the free kick.
Suggs, the native of Las Cruces. 5 yellow jerseys to aim for. It goes to the back post, it's headed on, and Cochran makes a nice save.
Good positioning there from Cochran to deal with that ball. Very dangerous ball from Suggs into the box.
Tonight's 3 minutes of stoppage time is brought to you by SSM Health St. Anthony's.
3 minutes of added time, first half. 3 minutes.
If this is the scoreline we go into the half with, will they deserve?
I think so. I think New Mexico has been better with the ball, better in possession, been better with creative with their ideas as to mixing it up into playing quick short, medium range passes and longer balls over the top to Parks. And Weehan and Moreno and Bruce have been very mobile and getting into dangerous positions.
That was nearly a dangerous position with Weehan feeding Parks. They're searching for a second one here.
Bees, hold! Bees, hold! Gotta win, Salih. Forward. Forward if we can. Get underneath it, Bees.
Ahmed taps it to Ryden. If you're Oklahoma City and John Pasquarello, what are you telling your side at the half?
We need to get high quicker. We need to try to apply pressure deeper in their half, and especially balls like these. We're winning we're going to win those balls when they play the ball from, force their goalkeeper or their outside backs to play the ball over the top. So try to apply pressure higher up the field and try to nick 1 or 2 of those balls off and retain possession higher up the field, because it's right now it's very difficult for them to break New Mexico down playing out of the back. So maybe it's a case that we play a couple balls over the top, see what that presents itself, and see if it frees up space for us to play through the middle of the park, especially winning the second balls and going forward.
Oklahoma City have mustered up 1 shot in the first half tonight. Here's Basulovic. Ellis Hayden. Back to him.
And the ball's moving just a little bit too slow, especially when it comes to changing the point of attack. As they build up one side and they get to the middle of the park, we need to look to needs to look to switch the point of attack a little bit quicker and get the numbers advantage in the flank areas with Hernandez and Chavez and Brown.
Here's Parks. He's got Moreno to his left. Romeo Parks slips it back. Bruce into the middle. Weehan! It's 2. Right on the stroke of halftime. Chris Weehan with his 4th USL goal in 2020.
Make it 4 for 4. Close the door. Chris Weehan on the back door, all alone, and makes no mistake about it. Cochran dead to rights. As Romeo Parks holds it up perfectly, slips in Bruce. Bruce gets his head up, sees Weehan on the back post all alone. Thank you very much.
All of a sudden, this is a first half that's turned into a dominant performance from New Mexico in a game that really didn't have much in the first 30 minutes. They've turned this game upside down as Oklahoma City have a lot to talk about in the halftime locker room.
Well, this front four is moving like a well-oiled machine. You can't give them any chances, and right on the stroke of halftime, they found one or two gaps. Romeo Parks was able to hold the ball up, pick Bruce out, going around the corner, and obviously Bruce, getting his head up, sees one of the most dangerous finishers in the USL on the back post all alone, and he made no mistake about putting the ball in the back of the net. 2-0 going into the half, New Mexico.
Armando Moreno in the 31st minute, Chris Wehan in the final minute of the first half. And indeed, you heard Wolde say it, 2-0. It's time for our Kalita Kia halftime.
Outlining your own destiny is something we all take pride in. And knowing we're doing what we love is what makes this life adventure so exciting. Isn't it nice to have a banking partner that's along for the ride? FFB makes life easier with a simple click and snap, so things like mobile banking and deposits can be done anywhere, anytime. Plus free bill pay, person-to-person transfers, and Apple Pay. With free ATMs worldwide, why wouldn't you want a bank that gives you this much freedom? FFB. We go where you go.
At OG&E, the energy we deliver is more than electrical. We energize your home and your budget by providing the power you need day and night at the lowest rates in the nation, all the while striving to offer you innovative ways to bring your costs down even further, from consistently investing in our infrastructure to weatherizing thousands of homes. Because at OG&E, we do more than energize a power grid. At OG&E, we energize life. Come see how at ogetogether.com.
As a private contractor, I didn't realize contacting OKC 811 before digging was my responsibility. I know there are utility lines buried everywhere, and I understand that damaging these lines could be costly or have potentially devastating consequences. From small digging, even with a shovel, to bigger jobs, the contractor must contact OKC 811 and wait the required time for those lines to be marked before starting the work. For every job, big or small, start your project with one call and simply dial 811.
Welcome back. Energy with a 2-0 advantage. The 6th minute of action. Now would be a great time to announce the new healthcare partner of the OKC Energy. It's SSM Health St. Anthony. SSM Health St. Anthony. SSM Health St. Anthony.
Welcome to the Kaliti Kia halftime report here in Oklahoma City, Taft Stadium, New Mexico, OKC at the half. Let's take a look at some of the action from Wednesday's game, our Week 6 midweek slate in the USL. We'll start in Indianapolis at Lucas Oil Stadium, where the Indy 11 got themselves a big win against Hartford, who had not yet lost heading into this matchup. Cross to set up Nick Moon for the header. That was just 4 minutes in. Hartford answered, and that was 1 minute into the second half here. Alex Dixon somehow got it between the defender's legs and were square at 1. But then just 5 minutes later, who else? You know his name. He's the USL's leading goal scorer. That's Tyler Pasher. Look at that angle. Big time goal. That's their second 2-1 Indy, and they wouldn't look back. A 4-1 win. As we head down south to Atlanta, already 1-0 in this one. Miami, and Mackie Diop scores the equalizer in the 41st minute. As we move forward to the second half, Sebastian Velasquez takes advantage of the turnover to get the lead back. 2-1 Miami. Velasquez nets his first of the season. 90 seconds later, though, it's Diop again. 2-2 on this goal. Check out the cross. Diop, just right place, right time, and we're square once again. This game got wilder, though. 87th minute, Atlanta United 2, up 1 and down a man. And check out this header by David Mejia to make it 4-2. Nice and smooth, square to the forehead. Miami FC did get a stoppage time goal to end the match. That was from Romario Williams, but Atlanta gets the 4-3 win. Off to Louisville. Group E matchup between SKC and Louisville City FC, and well, we know that Lou City has some problems now. Second meeting in 4 days. SKC2 gets it started. That's Dominic Rashidar in the right place at the right time. 8 minutes in. That was Cameron Lancaster in the 21st minute, doing what Cameron Lancaster does best. Tied at 1. Second half. Wilson Harris gets this through ball right here. Look how much work he has to do. Harris cuts inside, and this is the game winner. 2-1 SKC. They get a big win at Lynn Family Stadium. More to come from the Khalidi Kia halftime report when we return here from Taft Stadium in OKC.
A critical player development strategy within the USL Academy League model is player promotion through each player registration status. Through this process, top young talent will continually be challenged by playing up with older players, and the best players will eventually integrate into the USL senior team environment. Player promotion begins through the talent identification process, where top U15 through U19 players from the youth network will be evaluated under the philosophy that if you're good enough, you're old enough. Once a player excels in the USL Academy League, they will be given the opportunity to integrate into a senior team environment. As they assimilate and meet senior team standards, USL Championship and League One clubs will be able to offer the most talented players professional or amateur contracts with their senior team. This mechanism is especially key, as it provides the players ready to go pro with a direct path to do so. Clubs in League 2 will use their senior team to provide their top young talents experience with college-age players during the summer. Players signing amateur contracts at any of these levels are provided the chance to experience the senior team level of play at a young age, while still maintaining their college eligibility. By pushing more top young players across the US into professional environments, the USL will play a key role in improving the overall level of the elite American player, ultimately helping us reach, if not exceed, our potential as a soccer nation at the international level. For more information, visit usl-academy.com.
The United Soccer League and its 47th championship in League One clubs stand united in support of diversity, inclusivity, equality, and compassion. Together, we can make a difference. Together, we can create change. Together, we are united against racism.
It's the Khalidi Kia halftime report. 2-0 New Mexico here in Oklahoma City. Tonight's halftime brought to you by Khalidi Kia. Announced the Khalidi Kia halftime show. It's not just any dealership, the #1 dealership in Oklahoma. News and notes from around the USL. You see, Atlanta United had some coaching shuffles, especially because the head man at the top was fired. The Birmingham Legion raising money for Black Lives Matter, and Austin signing a local standout. Take a look at some of the standings for you. This is Group D. This is where Oklahoma City is. 2 points back of San Antonio. With a win tonight, they could get themselves to the top of the group, but that seems a lot less likely now. And in Group C, New Mexico, if you were to give some live standings updates, that's a 10-point New Mexico first 5 games. That's quite a success thus far. But they've got a tough task with El Paso. And time will tell. It's a shortened season, 16 games. We'll be back when we come back. It's the second half here on ESPN+.
Success is achieved through hard work, and many business owners work tirelessly for years to realize the dream of franchising their business. FFB partners with companies of all sizes every day and offers an extensive variety of treasury services. FFB will outline a plan just for you, help you streamline cash flow, and monitor your business transactions. Because we know you've got better things to do, like grow your business. FFB. We go where you go.
Being helpful is what Arvest Bank is all about. And part of being helpful is listening to our customers, which is why Arvest Go, our mobile app, was recently certified by J.D. Power for providing an outstanding mobile banking experience. You can easily pay friends, securely lock and unlock your cards, plus deposit checks, pay bills, and more. So download Arvest Go today. Arvest Bank, ready to help.
As a private contractor, I didn't realize contacting OKC 811 before digging was my responsibility. I know there are utility lines buried everywhere, and I understand that damaging these lines could be costly or have potentially devastating consequences. From small digging, even with a shovel, to bigger jobs, the contractor must contact OKC 811 and wait the required time for those lines to be marked before starting the work. For every job, big or small, start your project with one call and simply dial 811.
I'd always wanted to get braces, always considered it, thought about it. How long is this gonna take? Am I too old to do this? What am I gonna look like with braces on, with payment options and everything else? Nothing's hindering me now, I just need to go ahead and do it. The staff, for one, is awesome. The doctor's great. I know I had friends growing up saying, oh, it hurts. I didn't have that experience. I can't wait to see my teeth without being masked by wires, right? Hindsight, I would have done it again 100 times over.
Back on the Khalidi Kia halftime report. About ready to start the second half, but we do need to take a look at the Gran Centenario Tequila first half highlights. And the highlights mostly fell the way of New Mexico, Wolde, but early there were a couple of chances, one on each side. This one here, you see Parks getting in, and he just couldn't quite get his feet on the ball.
Yeah, just under a lot of pressure from both center backs coming back, doing a good job of shepherding Parks over to his right. And Cochran staying really, really big and just making it difficult for him to get a shot off. All he could get is a toe poke to it. Cochran cleans that up very easily.
Well, Oklahoma City had one shot on target in the first half, and that was it.
Yeah, it came down the line from Brown, getting high and wide, getting the ball across. Chavez getting on the end of it, but didn't get the full power behind it. And it's an easy cleanup for Mizell.
This is the first goal, Moreno
doing the dirty work, not afraid to put his body on the line. And again, it's that man Weehan with the cross. Pops up in the box, you have to track him or he's going to do something dangerous.
Weehan had 3 goals in the USL this season, and he said, you know what, I really want more than that. And off a poor clearance, right here, Parks. Make a move. Oh, this was the Parks move before. I beg your pardon. That was the one he couldn't quite get under control. But it was almost 2-0 then, and Chris Weehan decided to make it 2-0 right before halftime. 3 minutes of stoppage time. Here's the header on as well. That was a nice ball in from Suggs. But Weehan ultimately got the goal. You'll see him in a second, I promise you. Here he is. That pass in. Wait for it. It's coming. And this just goes to show you that there weren't a ton of opportunities, Wolde, but eventually Weehan made it work.
Yeah, New Mexico got in dangerous situations. Bruce running off the ball here, pass around the corner, and here's the man Weehan showing up at the back door, all alone, unmarked, and bulges the back of the onion.
Take a look at our stats here at halftime, and you can see that OKC actually ended up winning possession, but it just didn't matter. And the shots was one thing, but ultimately it's the goals that matter. And you can see that New Mexico holds the lead. No yellow cards, no red cards to speak of at this point. It's been a fairly clean game from that perspective. And we'll take a look at the upcoming schedule brought to you by Love's. This is what's going on later this week. And also, right now, you've got a handful of games that are in action. SKC with a 1-0 lead on Indy 11. Pittsburgh have put up 4 on Union 2. And that appears to be close to the final score. The only other game concurrent with ours, it's Monarchs leading Switchbacks 1-0. Along with Wolde Harris, Spencer Siegel here with you to take you through the second half. All right, Wolde, I asked you before the first half came to an end, and then it changed. Now what do you do if you're Oklahoma City and you take a look at their schedule? They've got 2 more games at home. They're trying to defend their home turf.
Well, they haven't had much in the way of attack, so I'm thinking coach is going to look to implement some form of change, either up top or in the midfield. As we take a look at Frank Lopez warming up, this might be a change up front. He might be going with a 4-4-2, putting Chavez and Lopez up front together. See if they could press the New Mexico defense a little bit and turning over the ball higher up the pitch. And Frank Lopez is a really good goal scorer. He's a poacher, he's an opportunist, and he's not afraid to run in behind as well and pressure the defense.
Yeah, you called it. Frank Lopez in, and Atiba Harris checks out from a defensive perspective. So that is an offense for defense move. Second half action, New Mexico in their yellow uniforms. Black and yellow. Lopez, the Cuban, will try and come in to create a spark. He does have a goal and an assist this season for OKC, and you can see him getting involved in the press right at the top. Right away, New Mexico wins a free kick in Oklahoma City's territory.
Yeah, so it looks like OKC is going with a flat back 4, Ellis Hayden playing a right back. You have Ibiagos shifting over to right center back. Taravel playing in the center back position as well. So we'll see how things play out.
Lopez is your Cox to compete substitution, making changes in home internet with low-cost options.
It looks like maybe Brown playing that left back position. Now we'll have to wait and see, as it's very difficult to decide for those numbers on the jerseys. OKC.
Yeah, shout out to New Mexico United's Twitter account, by the way, who said, just putting this out there, it's really hard to see those green kits in the shade. Yellow, on the other hand, very visible. I have to agree with that. Happy to be bringing you this game in Oklahoma City, coming to you live from our Vista Production Studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. This is nice and sunny here in Oklahoma City, and the rain is supposed to be sideways when we leave the building tonight in Florida, but we're happy to be bringing you USL Soccer any way we can. Garcia, long diagonal ball looking for Lopez, who can't chase it down.
And that's what he's going to bring to the game. He's going to bring some mobility, looking to get behind defense, a little bit of speed, asking questions of the center backs, Mohammed, and trying to get in behind that back four of New Mexico.
It is certainly an uphill climb for Oklahoma City here in the second half. They are, in their team's history, they've got 1 win, 38 losses, and 13 draws when trailing at halftime.
Well, ever being the optimist, we have to see if they could change that stat.
Ward, Taravel, Basulovic for Hernandez. Basulovic wants it back, gets it back, tries to cut back, penalty!
And the change pays dividends right away. OKC doing a really good job of working the ball in the short spaces in between and just turning right in there. Had to get a foot in. We'll see a better look at the replay.
Kalen Ryden. Oh, I don't know. That was a close one for sure. But yeah, I think he got some ball, and it's really tough even in slow motion to see that, the Dental Depot replay. Nonetheless, though, it's a chance for OKC right out of the second half gate to get themselves back on track. It's Jaime Chavez who has 2 goals this season against Cody Mizell. Chavez had 12 goals for Fresno last year. A chance to cut the deficit in half. Jaime Chavez misses wide right. He missed everything.
I'm stunned. I'm stunned. Chavez is usually clinical in these situations, and with an opportunity to get his team back on the board, as we look at the replay, just opens his body, sends Mizell the right way, but just does not hit the target.
You can't have that.
As you see, Coach Pascarella looking to keep the momentum going. As emotion's still running a little bit low because of that miss, trying to psych his team up.
Well, coping mentally with a 2-0 deficit at halftime was one thing. Now you add on top of that a PK miss that would have brought this game back to within striking distance.
Yeah, that was a devastating miss. If you're looking to get your team back into the game, making those adjustments at halftime and seeing it pay dividends in a penalty call within the first couple minutes of the second half, and then not taking advantage of the opportunities is definitely something that Coach Pascarella is going to be down on, and probably revisit this week and see if they can learn from it and move forward.
Mohamed, who scored an absolute screamer of a goal against Colorado Springs earlier this season. Your former Colorado Springs, Wolde, you saw that goal. That's probably, I've got to say, it's one of the goal of the year candidates for me.
One of the best goals I've seen in the last 5 years of the USL that I've been coaching in the USL. One of the best goals. First time, 25 yards out, no chance at it. Really striking.
Yearwood boots it ahead.
Step together.
Guzman confidently turns away from the defense. Now Tenari through the lines. Parks couldn't get it to Wehan. An option down the right flank. Hernandez gave up on the run, and he was in an offside position.
I think Hernandez committed to the run, but realized that Chavez just couldn't get him the ball at the right time. And by the time Chavez looked up, he was in an offside position, so he stopped his run.
Hey, that's the right idea, boys.
First 4 games for New Mexico this year. They got their 2-1 win at El Paso last weekend. 2 first-half goals, one from Wehan, one from Devin Sandoval. And despite allowing an 86th minute penalty, came away with the 2-1 win. Their second win of the season. First win came in the first game since the restart. That was against Colorado Springs with Muhammad's goal. It was a strange game, that one, against Colorado Springs.
Colorado Springs actually had a goal called back earlier for offsides. That would have put them in the lead and put even more pressure on New Mexico, but New Mexico stood the test of time, and then at the end, Wehan came up with the winner.
Switchbacks had a 90% tackle success rate in that game, which seems like a typo to me, but stats don't lie. They had 12 shots, only one of them on target. The Switchbacks did. Their only loss this season, New Mexico, came in the season opener way back in March. 1-0 loss to Austin on an Andre Lima PK.
Must have done them a whole world of good to reflect on that, because they've come out firing all cylinders since.
Ahead for Brown, can't get to it. Did that ball go out? That might be a yellow card if it was picked up by Guzman, or rather Hernandez.
Talk about speed of play. He was pushing it to another level there.
Certainly, Matthew Corrigan is within his jurisdiction to give Hernandez a yellow, decides not to.
It's a good feel for the game. Realize the player, made an error. It wasn't intentional.
It looked very intentional to me. Picked up the ball and then tried to throw it back in.
He was trying to get the game going quickly. Just didn't have the patience to let the ball go out of bounds. So maybe it's an error in judgment from the player. I don't think he did the right thing in not giving the yellow card. Maybe give it a little talking to, but.
Well, this has been a clean game so far.
Good feel for the game.
Still waiting for our first caution. The only yellow on the field is New Mexico.
Mexico is definitely getting much organized since they've conceded that penalty kick.
Parks always rising.
Yeah, they're back to their old adage of putting pressure on the ball high and making it difficult for OKC to play out of the back.
Well, that was certainly how they had their success in the first half, so I guess if it's not broke.
What's interesting is that OKC is still trying to play a lot through the middle of the park. Finally finding the gaps in the seams here.
Hernandez, Lopez, save Mizell.
Great save from Mizell there, staying big. That's much better from OKC. And there's that man Lopez finding those little seams to run into.
There's Oladipo replay. Calls for offside. I think he stayed on.
I think
this is a Love's corner kick.
Clear our line, Salim! Clear our line!
Hurled in by Rafa Garcia. Nobody there to meet it.
Everybody went into the 6-yard box and the ball didn't.
With time, Jonathan Brown to Hernandez. And one nicely by Guzman. Energy fans, be sure to participate in your True Sky Credit Union Man of the Match voting. Following the final whistle, find the poll on Energy FC Twitter and vote for your True Sky Credit Union Man of the Match. True Sky Credit Union, where you truly belong.
Get your shape, Nico! Take a chance, Romeo! Take a chance!
Last 10 minutes have been better for OKC. They just have to find that breakthrough. They've had 2 chances. A PK miss by Jaime Chavez. And a Frankie Lopez shot on target that was punched away confidently by Cody Mizell.
Yeah, they're finding a bit of space now as OKC backs off a little bit in the midfield. Tenari and Guzman just a little bit further back than they usually are, or as they were in the first half.
Brown continues his run, looks to the middle. Chavez's flick was not what he had intended.
Yeah, just a little bit too much space between the lines there for New Mexico. Maybe a couple of tired legs out there, albeit the 60th minute of the game, or the 59th minute of the game. Chavez trying to flick that one behind him.
It's like when Phil Mickelson took out the putter from 78 yards and said, I envisioned that one differently in my mind. won by Ibiaga. Even better work from Tenari.
Good. Off it, Austin, off it. Good.
Yearwood ahead for Parks, who's offside.
That's a much better line from OKC. Not being afraid of the ball at the top because there's pressure on the ball. Pulling a high line. And forcing New Mexico to run offside.
You could hear the crunching tackle that time from Suggs. Safe digging is no accident. Simply dial 811 to get utility lines in your yard marked so you can avoid potential injury and expense. It's a free service, so just do it. Energy FC would like to thank Oki 811 for being a sponsor of Energy FC. Lopez fought off by Tenari. Trouble in the back. 3-on-1 somehow found its way through.
This is the first time in the game I've seen New Mexico being a little bit disorganized, especially in the middle of the park. And OKC giving them, asking some questions, especially in those half spaces.
Ellis Hayden making a run to the middle. There he is, Zachary Ellis Hayden. Hernandez signaling Ellis Hayden to float it wide, and it was too wide for Jonathan Brown.
Great idea, just overcooked the pass.
Well, the final numbers in this game in terms of possession are starting to skew in Oklahoma City's direction because of the way this game is playing out with the 2-0 lead for New Mexico. They're happy to let OKC sit on the ball and force the Energy to break New Mexico down. So we're up to about 60-40 on possession. And that's Weehan who's down.
Hey, there's water here, boys!
Yeah, just went into a collision there with Taravel.
Looks to be all right.
Head contact. Taravel coming up in the back. We see contact, but we don't know exactly what happened. It seemed to be contact above the shoulders or to the face.
Weehan, the second goal scorer in this game. It was Armando Moreno who nailed his first goal for New Mexico down in the 31st minute. He's the 4th player this season to score for New Mexico and just the 12th player in New Mexico United history to have scored a goal. In fact, there are only 6 players in New Mexico United history who have more than 1 goal to their name.
So they're using this as a hydration break here. Getting some fluids in. Weehan makes his way. Glad to see him up on his feet.
I gotta say, this is the first game that you and I, Wolde, have done here with New Mexico, and I'm a big fan of those jerseys. I like the yellow and black combination, maybe more so suited for Pittsburgh, but then again, New Mexico's got their own identity and calling card that they're looking for, almost Watford-esque, if you will. The only professional American soccer team to have an apparel contract with Puma. And again, the numbers on the backs of the jerseys, nice and clear.
Yeah. Thank you.
Goal score.
Moreno, just 24 years old. 7 appearances last year for the Chicago Fire. One of the first homegrown signings for New York Red Bulls Had 2 appearances in 2013, the year Red Bulls won the Supporters' Shield.
Mix it up. Force it back.
Training out more and more players at Red Bulls Academy.
Guzman wins the free kick and elects to go right away. Time is on New Mexico's side as we dwindle down the second half. And Moreno whistled for the foul that time. He stayed onside.
I'll tell you what, Guzman's quietly gone about his business and just has been in the right place at the right time, making great decisions, whether it be putting out fires and recovering the ball or changing the point of attack. But he's been one of the unsung heroes of this game so far.
Go again! Guys ahead of the ball! Move to find it! Hi, honey! Somebody tell him!
Right in with time.
Pass a little bit. Pass.
Now Tenari.
You gotta be better there.
Don't miss a minute of action in 2020. Sign up today and get alerts all year long by following your club on ESPN.com. Search for OKC or New Mexico United and then click the follow button to keep up with the latest news and scores. Plus, get reminders on your team's next match. Trouble in the back there, handled by Cochran eventually, but then out to Ibeaga. Quickly, New Mexico will restart play. Suggs, Tenari. And a patient approach from New Mexico here. Well, you'd think we're 20 minutes into the second half. At what point does OKC look to make another sub? Here's Weehan. Here's Moreno. And it's flicked away at the last moment by Taravel.
I think the Coach Pascarella is going to go look and wait a couple more minutes, maybe looking around the 70th minute, because obviously you don't want to open up too much and concede another. So maybe he's just being patient to see what this group can give him up until the next couple of minutes.
It's a Love's second half corner kick. Into the box, flicked on, and then out for another corner.
I'm not sure Ibeaga knew too much about that one. Just kind of deflected off the player in front of him and then just bounced off his head for a corner. Could have gone anywhere. Great service by Weehan.
It's still a Love's second half corner kick. Tenari on the deflection. And it's out for, you guessed it, a Love's corner kick.
That was a little bit more intentional by Ibeaga. But at the top of the box, Tenari was just sitting there waiting. Got it out of his feet really quickly and got a shot off. Unfortunately, got deflected. But again, it's another corner kick. Tightening the screws are New Mexico.
That's one of my favorites. Love tightening the screw. Tenari's unmarked at the top of the box on the volley. Couldn't get it perfect. Defense closed him down too quickly, and Moreno is offside.
They're trying to work something from the training ground there. Direct ball to the top of the box. Just a little bit too much pepper on it for Tenari, and he wasn't able to bring it under control to get the shot off. Here we are in the 68th minute, and New Mexico is still pushing high, pressing high up the pitch, making it life difficult for OKC to play out and get the ball to their most dangerous guys up front.
Here's Parks again. With room, Parks on his left, tripped up by the ball.
Actually, I thought that was a great challenge from Taravel. Good, well-timed tackle. Parks looked like he slipped on, could have possibly slipped on the ball, but I think Taravel had something to do with that.
Hernandez, Lopez. Frankie Lopez. Now Brown. A lot of yellow jerseys in the box. Brown will get a low cross in. Tiptoeing along the sideline. OKC will try the other side. Ibiaga.
Or are we switching up?
You can just see them being pushed back without much of an option to move forward.
You move Austin to this
space in the middle.
Okay, and Rashid, you're always going to be in the back spot.
Rafa Garcia trying to be that link. That one won't do.
You're next to Austin. You understand?
Yes, okay.
Okay. You stay on the offensive corners. You just stay back. Okay.
91.
Talked about some of the home road issues, as we will see a pair of substitutions. Sammy Sergei comes in. Sergei for Parks. It's a Cox Connect to Compete substitution. And we'll see Tete come in as well.
Yeah, Tete just coming in to solidify the back.
And that's what we were expecting. It was really only a matter of time, you'd think, before Omar Gordon made his way in. He'll spell Hernandez.
Well, this is a player that has a lot of speed and a lot of skill and an ability to score goals. So you should see more from OKC with Gordon in the lineup.
Fresh legs of Sergei trying to chase down in the back. Here's Charlie Ward. Haven't called his name all that often tonight. Vasilovic wiggles around a defender, keeps going. Brought back out from Moreno.
Rosh, slide over more. Let Kalen have that one. Slide over.
Vasilovic has space. He'll try one from deep, just over the bar.
Vasilovic with an impressive strike from distance. Just skimming the crossbar.
That had potential. Why not, right? May as well. And that one was not too far off.
Seconds of rune, seconds of rune.
Although OKC haven't taken advantage of the opportunities presented in front of them the first half of this half, they're not done yet.
They're definitely not giving up, and with this man on the ball in the game, anything can happen, attacking-wise.
Really just looking for that one spark to try and bring themselves back into the contest. Ibiaga has to hurry. Here's Tete. His first touch is loose. Chavez's flick, kept alive, but Tete works to win the ball back. Ryden, though, gets it for OKC. Here comes Lopez, across the face of goal, and nobody there to meet it on the other side.
Again, great movement by Frank Lopez. Diagonal run across the box, great through ball, just no one following up. Limited numbers in the box for OKC.
Not yet, not yet. Oh, he's got your papers? Okay.
Great fight to win that ball. That was Hayden playing the ball through to Frank Lopez. but Chavez Jr. just a little bit late on the back post.
Energy FC would like to thank SSM Health St. Anthony, being the official healthcare provider, and Team Docs for Energy FC. SSM Health St. Anthony's support on the sidelines and in the community is unmatched. For 121 years, SSM Health St. Anthony has been ready to help and heal patients across OKC. Here's Gordon, Omar Gordon. Garcia, cleared by Yearwood, whose name we haven't called much tonight either.
Hey, man.
Come on. No. We're not gonna be disrespectful like that.
Yearwood
Get it in now.
is trying to find some room. Two more New Mexico subs expected here. David Estrada and Ryan Williams both checking in. That'll be it for Weehan.
Another solid performance from Weehan. Goal and an assist.
Andrew Tenari with some solid work in the midfield tonight. Our Cox Connect to Compete substitutions, making changes in home internet with low-cost options. Visit cox.com/connect to compete. Here comes Williams, the Hawaiian. 15 appearances last year in New Mexico's inaugural season.
Coach just saying, just freshening up that midfield. Big part of the game is pressing the ball and recovering the ball high, and he's noticed that has dipped a little bit and is implemented some fresh legs in order to put more pressure on the ball up high.
Well, when you have 5 substitutions at your disposal, which of course used to be the case in the USL, and then they went to the traditional 3, although this year pretty much every major soccer league has switched to 5 with the influx of games, and you may as well use them, right?
That's right. I mean, if it's to your advantage to get fresh legs on the field and see if you can impose your will on the opposition, why not? At this point in the game, the 77th minute, players are going to get tired, fatigue is going to set in, and this is when mistakes happen, and both coaches are looking to mitigate that by getting fresh legs on the pitch.
Time to get some water. Both sides could use it at this point. Here at Taft Stadium with about 15 minutes and change to go. Look back at how we got to this point. 2-0 our scoreline. Both goals coming in the first half. The first one thanks to Armando Moreno, who's been great for New Mexico. Look at the chested here goal by Moreno.
What I like about this goal is the movement off the ball and the movement of the ball. Players are running off the ball into positions where they're shifting the defense and disorganizing the defense, and obviously players running behind the ball to make sure that there's somebody to put the ball in the back of the net. Just like here's Bruce finding Weehan on the back post.
That one was scalded to the netting. Fell calmly for Weehan, took it on the half volley. 4th USL goal for Weehan this season. He's inching towards the top, but in the USL this year, you've got some stiff competition to be your top goal scorer. Now here in the second half for OKC, this is where they had a chance to get back in the game. Jaime Chavez, I'll spare all of the OKC fans the visual. That was a missed PK that could have gotten them to 2-1.
And at that point in the game, it could have been a whole different game if they brought one back, changed their energy, changed the psychology of both OKC and asking questions of New Mexico. But with that miss, just gave New Mexico a little bit of breathing room to keep the score the same. And
Gordon nearly juked himself out of his shoes that timeout. Here's Ryden trying to whip his cross in. Win the throw.
Well defended, Suggsy. Well done, Rush. Come again.
Calls for a penalty, but so far Rashid Tete has been outstanding defensively since coming on as a sub. That goal for Weehan, by the way, we don't have the live statistics to prove that he's all by himself, but looking at the USL's website, I can tell you that at the very least he's in a tie for second place in the individual goal scoring category so far in 2020. Tyler Pasher's ahead of the pack. He's got 6, but that was Weehan's 4th, and that breaks about a 12-way tie with everybody else in the USL.
From different positions, Weehan.
Tete this time did have it hit the brasso.
Tete had a well-timed tackle in the box a couple minutes ago. Ball just bouncing awkwardly for him here and conceding a free kick. OKC will look to get numbers in the box and serve this into a dangerous area. See if they could get themselves back in the game at the 81st minute.
OKC sending bodies forward. I count 8 of them. Into the box, headed on wide of goal that time by Lopez.
I think initially the players would love that ball from Rafa Garcia just a little bit deeper to ask questions of Cody Mizell and get them a little bit closer to the goal. With that being said, good effort by Frank Lopez to get ahead on it.
That might be a card for Mizell. There it is, the first yellow of the night, which is a shame because we were heading towards potentially a cautionless game, which has only happened once so far this season in the USL in 46 games.
Here on the road, a little bit of gamesmanship. Wasted a couple seconds off the clock. Cody Mizell knows what he's doing.
He said, I was just taking it to the other side. Well, you do that the first time. Energy FC is proud to welcome Social Capital as the official watch party location for the 2020 season. Bring your family and watch every Energy FC away match at the #1 rated craft beer bar in Oklahoma by Forbes. Social Capital boasts 120 independent craft beers on tap, a variety of local cocktails and wine, a full menu of street tacos, those are my favorite, and more with OKC's largest rooftop patio.
All right, Coach, thank you.
There's been absolutely zero respite for the defense. New Mexico has just been pressing and pressing and pressing and forcing their to be out there conceding and throwing deep in their half.
2 more substitutions to try and turn this thing around.
Pasquarello's pushing it all in here. See if they can get themselves back into the game.
Brad Dunwell and Tucker Stevenson
We're ready.
will both try to get something done here late.
Okay, I got this other one. So this will be their
4th one.
So
You got
I
one more.
believe,
You got one more.
is that 4 and 5 for OKC, or is that 3 and 4? Actually, nope.
You got one more.
I read the first time. For our Cox Connect to compare substitutions. So Rafa Garcia's night is done, and he was trying to be that link in the midfield. In comes Dunwell. Had 5 appearances last year for RGV, Dunwell did. This is his 5th appearance already this season. Here's Basulovic. Out wide. Brought down by Lopez. Looking for help. There's too many yellow jerseys in the penalty area.
Yeah, New Mexico doing a really good job of getting behind the ball and making life difficult in the attacking third for OKC. They just can't find any space. 4 jerseys, 6 jerseys around 2 players. Yellow jerseys around 2 OKC players. It's just very difficult to break them down. And that's something that Coach Sassane alluded to in our call, is that they've been just better this year at not being broken down. Just better overall defensively, and that's what's led them to the success they've had so early in this restart of the competition.
Can we win it back early?
By the way, I mentioned that Social Capital is the place to watch Energy away games in terms of a watch party. That's had to wait early on this season. 6 of the first 7 games for OKC here at home at Taft Stadium. They do hit the road soon. August the 19th is their next road game at San Antonio. Chavez flicks it up. Header too strong that time from Lopez.
Turn!
Asking turn that time. Not enough.
Fortunate there for Moreno. They had 2 D1 going in that direction. Ibiaga here just doing what he needs to do, as we're definitely at a disadvantage. Taking the yellow card for the team there.
Because I counted OKC as their first one. So this is their third and final moment.
Ibiaga gets a yellow.
26.
And it looks like New Mexico will be using their last substitution shortly.
10 out.
So hold this real quick.
All right, thank you.
Offside.
We'll take it.
Sub. Okay. All right, next one. Yes.
Wanted the substitution, but
We want the next one, please.
Matthew Corrigan elects play to go on.
On these, I want you just coming off the post. Okay.
Still time for OKC.
Come off the post. Any direct free kick.
They're
You're
certainly
on the
running out of it.
goal. You protect anything that goes wide, okay? Anyone that comes and stands out here, you go
It's a
and mark
foul
them,
on
okay?
Guzman, or rather, I should say Guzman drew it. And for what looked like initially a low total of cautions, we've got a few extra here in the final 10 minutes. And now Armando Moreno has seen his last action of the night. He checks out.
Just a little bit of frustration creeping in there from Chavez, following Guzman.
In comes Jarice Alinvi. Their Cox connect to compete substitution. Moreno, the game's first goal scorer.
Mexico looking to see this out, adding fresh legs for the last couple minutes of the game.
It was Chavez who was booked on that foul away from the ball.
Yes, sir. Right now, we're at about 4.5.
Well, it's a long, short season for both of these teams. 16 games, you can equate it to an NFL season, essentially, a 16-game schedule, just to give you an idea of the importance of each match. As Tete is fouled.
Gordon was just bearing down on him. Tete had great body position on Gordon, and he had to foul him in order to get to the ball. Referee made the correct call.
So this game for Oklahoma City will be their 5th. And right now it looks like San Antonio is the team that I wouldn't say running away with is the right terminology, but out in front of Group D in the early stages. On the live table, San Antonio has 10 points in 4 games to Oklahoma City's 5 in 5. That's because San Antonio's got a 2-1 lead on Austin approaching halftime. Meanwhile, for New Mexico, they're extending their lead in Group C. 10 points in 5 games for them should this scoreline hold. And then you've got Colorado Springs and El Paso both with 5 points in 4 games. Colorado Springs about to finish level with Real Monarchs, who in Group C, the defending champions, are at the bottom of the table. Just 2 points through their first 4 games.
Yeah, tough going for both those teams, especially the defending champions. But New Mexico definitely in the driver's seat. In their zone, and rightly so.
You heard John Pasquarella say you've got time, and indeed, Oklahoma City does have time to get this done. The word on the street is that we'll have 7 added minutes when we hit the 90.
If they're going to get it done, they need to start real quickly.
Muhammad boots it clear. And indeed, our SSM Health St. Anthony stoppage time is 7 minutes, so OKC still with time. However, that won't help.
Those are the ones that drive the head coach crazy. You have the ball in a good attacking position.
Concentrate here, Suggsy. Come on, rush. Come on, rush.
And letting the other team off with a free kick.
Healthcare partner of Energy FC. Seconds away at a moment's notice, SSN Health St. Anthony is ready. For our team, for our patients, and for our city, we are ready.
Good ball up ahead. Gordon has to catch up to it, and he can't. A frustrating night, and perhaps a microcosm of the way it's gone for OKC.
Omar Gordon finding it hard to beat Suggs there. Both speedy players. Just touch lets him down in the end.
Well, take the preseason matchup that New Mexico won 2-1 against OKC in February out of the equation. This is the 3rd meeting between these two teams. And early on, it's a matchup dominated by the men in yellow. First matchup finished 1-1 last June. And then last year's Taft Stadium meeting was a 3-1 win for New Mexico. They're on the precipice of another 2-goal victory tonight for a team that, as we mentioned, they had a lot of games last year that they didn't finish. They had leads in a lot of those games, ended up dropping points. They'll have an opportunity right from the top of the box as Alinvi draws the foul, and perhaps a shot on target from a set piece here. But you go back to last year, not being able to close games. They get a win with a 2-0 lead last week against El Paso. They do give up a late goal in that one, but it's a 2-1 win. Here tonight, looks like they're on the verge of closing yet another one.
Yeah, this is just a testament to Coach Hassan and the continuity and the discipline that he's created and implemented in this team. He highlighted the fact that they made improvements defensively, that they're a much harder team to break down, and that's translated into more possession of the ball and more chances created up top.
Alinvi by himself into the wall. Second chance. How about you?
Second bite at the apple, strokes it into the corner. Great goal from the substitute. Comes in and imposes himself on the game. Didn't hesitate one bit once that ball ricocheted off the wall. Strikes it in the low right-hand corner of the net. And it's 3-0 New Mexico on top.
It's the first professional goal for Joris Alinvi in just his 2nd appearance in a New Mexico uniform. And as you said, Wolde, if at first you don't succeed, give yourself another chance and put it in the back of the net. Alinvi seals all 3 points for New Mexico tonight.
did not hesitate to swing at it again. And great technique to keep his upper body over the ball. And strikes it low and hard. Difficult for Cochran to handle. It's in the back of the net.
Concentrate here, guys. Concentrate, Dave.
Just the story of the night for New Mexico. They kept coming. They played positive football in the second half. Lopez able to chase that one down, and it's flicked out for a Love's corner kick.
Yeah, I think, you know, they've been great offensively, taking their chances. They've done well in that regard, but defensively, they've been really solid, and I think that's what's the catalyst for them doing well in the attacking end of the field.
Clean sheet kept alive by Mizell off the flicked header.
That's a perfect example. Mizell there to clean anything up behind the back four. Difficult to break down. And on the other end, making use of their chances.
Well, Wolde, what did we learn tonight?
Well, you have to come out and you have to impose yourself on the game. You have to be adventurous and take some risk. I think New Mexico did that in the early going and it paid dividends. And they're very mobile. Everybody was working for each other. They were very compact defensively. And, you know, it's going to be a very difficult team to beat going down the stretch. They put themselves in the driver's seat and they're looking pretty good at this point. For OKC, obviously it's their first loss in 5 games, and well, second loss in 5 games, and but first since the restart. And they still have time. They just have to look back at this game, see what they can learn, and obviously they have some injuries that they need to attend to. Hopefully they get those players back pretty soon, and they're able to get back on the front foot starting the next game. But for this one, New Mexico came in with a game plan and executed the game plan to perfection.
That they did, despite having only 38% of the ball tonight, and doing it without Devin Sandoval, their lead man up top.
That says a lot about the depth of this team, the quality that's within the team. And there's a lot to be said about how they play and move and work for one another as well. That plays into the chances that they've created. Even now in the 97th minute, players are still chasing the ball, making it difficult for the opposition to break them down.
New Mexico's next matchup is on the road at Phoenix Rising. A tough test, to say the least, especially a team in Phoenix that lost last weekend to Orange County.
Surge, come on, Surge, good.
Oklahoma City will have to regroup.
Go again.
It's a 3-0 loss for them, barring one last gasp here at the end.
Rush, come here, Rush!
Yeah, the difference has really been in the quality of the finishing. Both teams played hard. Both teams created chances, albeit New Mexico has created more chances up until this point.
One chance to get the ball in. It's Mizell with a beautiful save to preserve the clean sheet.
Great save there from Mizell, watching it all the way, getting that top hand to the ball. There's no pressure on the ball, able to get off a shot, and he was right there behind it.
It is, but he's not going to take away the corner kick.
A clear of the ball, and a win for New Mexico United. 3-0. They beat OKC here on the first day of August.
Well-deserved win for New Mexico. They came in, imposed themselves on the game, finished the chances that they had. Unfortunately, OKC didn't do that, but they'll have another game coming up really quickly. They need to rebound, pick themselves up, and move forward.
Arun Basulovic is your True Sky Credit Union man of the match. 2 shots for Basulovic, one of them on target. Really tried to control the play in the midfield, made surging runs when given the opportunity. But tonight, was New Mexico's night. They get the win. They are on top of Group C. And OKC still certainly in it as far as the rest of the season and playoff picture are concerned. They've got some things to fix. Tonight's final score brought to you by SSM Health St. Anthony's. 3-0 New Mexico. We'll be back to wrap this one up.
Goals are something we outline for ourselves, and oftentimes they can be pretty lofty. When things begin to line up the way we think they should, we appreciate those who helped us along the way, like the help you get with commercial banking from FFB. Our experts are ready to partner with you to help you manage cash flow, oversee accounts through online banking, and help you secure a business line of credit. Because we know you've got better things to do, like grow your business. FFB. We go where you go.
Welcome back. Energy with a 2-0 advantage. The 6th minute of action. Now would be a great time to announce the new healthcare partner of the OKC Energy. It's SSM Health St. Anthony. SSM Health St. Anthony. SSM Health St. Anthony. St. Anthony.
At OG&E, the energy we deliver is more than electrical. We energize education by supporting schools to help our children reach their potential. So every time you see Big Orange out there working for you, remember we're also working to turn power into empowerment. Because at OG&E, we do more than energize a power grid. At OG&E, we energize life. Come see how at OGEtogether.com.
3-0 New Mexico, our SSM Health St. Anthony's final score here in Oklahoma City. And Woldy Harris, let's take a look at our First Fidelity Bank full-time highlights of this one. A game dominated by New Mexico. I wouldn't say from start to finish. The first 15 minutes took a little bit of getting used to, but then the first goal from Moreno and New Mexico were off and running.
Yeah, just a combination play between Bruce, Parks, Weehan, and then Moreno. Everybody moving. It's very dynamic, very fluid. Great first goal from New Mexico.
Goal number 2, look at Romeo Parks on the ball here. A little shimmy shake, and it eventually finds Weehan after the slip ball to Bruce.
Yeah, Parks holds it up perfectly. Does a little shimmy, a little shake, as you said, and Bruce running around the corner. Eyes Weehan on the back post, and make no mistake about it, Weehan slots it in the back of the net.
And then OKC had a chance. They missed a penalty in the second half, right out of the second half gate. That was the penalty drawn. And here's Chavez, just wide, missed everything. You hate to see that. You can see his reaction. And that was really the difference in terms of Oklahoma City getting their opportunity to get back into the game. They couldn't do it. New Mexico puts it away late.
Yeah, Linvey gets in the game. Gets a second bite at the cherry here after hitting the wall. Ball comes back, bounces, and on the half volley just strokes it into the back of the net. Cochran, no chance.
Those are your First Fidelity Bank highlights. How about the Love's full-time stats? Shots ended up even. Possession, all Oklahoma City. The 3 yellow cards were all after the 80th minute, but ultimately it's the goals that count.
This seems like a Jose Mourinho stat to me, in that the other team can have a lot of possession, but it all counts when you score goals. Possession counts for naught if you don't score the goals. Shots are even, but the stat that counts the most, obviously the one that's right at the top. 3 goals for you, New Mexico United. And obviously Chavez missed a penalty, which could help them get back into the game. But unfortunately, he missed wide right when they were unable to do so. New Mexico goes on to the win.
Well, that does it for us. If you're still hungry for USL action, there's plenty more going on ESPN Plus tonight. A lot of West Coast games getting underway right now. But from Oklahoma City, for Woldy Harris, I'm Spencer Siegel. We're signing off. It's New Mexico United 3, OKC 0. Good night, everybody.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League